presently as I would like to think, and this is only my unassuming assessment, they ought to have all become multi-decumens. Monique, the unashamed sovereign of satire, is causing disturbances in Hollywood once more, and this time it's not simply with her sharp mind and humor. She's standing firm and revealing insight into the dinky universe of pay variations and the abuse of dark entertainers in Tinseltown. What I will not do is hush up. I won't disappear. I won't withdraw. Monique has at no point ever been one to beat around the bush. Endlessly time in the future, she has kept on uncovering how Hollywood apparently destroyed the vocations of dark entertainers. Truth be told, in an as of late remerged interview, Mo shared the stunning disclosure that Tiffany Haddish, Gina Lobby, Jada Pinkett, and Sovereign Latifa were fundamentally come up short on for their jobs in the blockbuster hit Young Ladies Trip, which rounded up north of 100 million bucks in the cinema world. It ought to have all become multi-moguls off of that movie. This is a distinct sign of the business history with regards to perceiving and remunerating the gifts of dark entertainers. Yet this isn't whenever Monique first has reprimanded Hollywood. She was recently entangled in a significant aftermath with industry heavyweights Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels. This previous contention is by all accounts intently attached to her ebb and flow, sees on the difficulties confronting dark entertainers. In a convincing turn, Monique introduced proof of Hollywood's inconsistent compensation scales. She referred to the Forbes rundown of the best 10 most generously compensated entertainers in Hollywood for 2017, featuring the glaring shortfall of ladies of variety. On that rundown, Mr. Forbes' most generously compensated entertainers and full currently individuals are saying why there are no ladies of variety on this rundown. This glaring dissimilarity highlights the requirement for change in the business. Anyway, Monique's campaign for pay value and fair treatment has earned help from individual jokesters and performers. Luenell, another comedic force to be reckoned with, commended Monique's boldness to go to bat for what's right. Luenell underscored the significance of ladies in parody standing together in fortitude. Anyway, subsequent to digging further into the matter, it appears as though Monique's cases about the diversion world could really have a few legitimacy. And think about what there's a succulent dish to spill. You see, there's a lot of remarkable dark entertainers who were the supreme sovereigns of the 2000s, yet incidentally, Tinseltown chose to treat them with utter disdain. So we should examine these dark sovereigns and what truly befell their professions. Stacy Run, hi my shortcoming, how you doing? I was sitting tight for you inside, why I needed to request that you wed me. Stacy Run, a name notable to Hollywood and TV crowds, has been both a praised entertainer and a disputable individual of note. Her excursion in media outlets is an unmistakable impression of the difficulties looked by people of color, uncovering a Hollywood that can be savage and unforgiving. Scramble's profession in Hollywood started on a high note with her breakout job in the 1995 movie Confused, where she depicted the in vogue and scrappy Diane Davenport, so shopping with Dr. Seuss. Basically, I wouldn't skin a collie to make my rucksack gracious welcome. That was a stop sign. I completely stopped the movie's prosperity, launch her into the spotlight, and she turned into a perceived face in the business. Anyway, her profession followed a wild way set apart by debates, individual battles, and expert difficulties. One of the discussions that overwhelmed Run during her profession was her vocal help for moderate political perspectives, which set her in a disruptive spotlight in a prevalently liberal industry. Her blunt moderate position made her an exception, prompting huge kickback and even allegations of being a backstabber to her own local area. Run's encounters shed light on the business bigotry towards disparate political philosophies, particularly when voiced by people of color. In 2012, Scramble freely supported Glove Romney in the official political race, a move that collected broad consideration and analysis. I accept him, you realize. I've watched him for some time. She confronted a flood of put-downs and disparaging remarks from the people who contradicted her political position. This occurrence embodies the and business propensity to shun people of color who express perspectives that contrast from the standard as Run's profession advanced. She experienced proficient difficulties that further uncovered the business cruel real factors. She talked transparently about her battles to find significant jobs and her discernment that the business pigeonhole her as the quintessential furious person of color around. Then in my life, it was what my identity was, and I understood in 2016 that outrage is unreasonable. This categorizing of dark entertainers into restricted cliché jobs is a foundational issue in Hollywood, propagating racial predispositions and restricting open doors for capable people of color. Yet in spite of her difficulties, Run's vocation went on with appearances in different TV programs and movies. Despite the fact that her conspicuousness faded, she joined the cast of the unscripted television show Single Women, which offered her a stage to recapture perceivability in the business. Anyway, Run's process additionally included individual preliminaries, for example, a turbulent marriage, and legitimate issues. Her perplexing individual life in the public examination she confronted added one more layer to the difficulties that individuals of color in the business persevere in. 2020 scramble declared her withdrawal from the political circle. Perceiving the disruptiveness it had caused, she communicated a longing to get back to acting and narrating, stressing her adoration for the art that had at first pushed her to fame. Run's ever arrangement and readiness to concede her stumbles exhibit a strength frequently expected of people of color. Exploring Hollywood's unforgiving landscape, Reagan Gomes Preston, too youthful to be in any way this exhausting. We want a few companions. We are not exhausting. We're residing the fantasy. Reagan Gomes Preston, a carefully prepared entertainer known for her sincerity in promotion, has graced Hollywood's stage, as well as vigorously uncovered the dull underside of an industry that frequently flourishes with fraud and racial cold-heartedness. Her process is a demonstration of the massive difficulties looked by individuals of color who, regardless of their certain ability, are frequently consigned to the edges of the amusement world in the fabulous venue of Hollywood, where glamour and charm are strutted as excellencies. Reagan Gomes Preston's encounters act as an obvious wake-up call that not all that sparkles is gold. Debates have on numerous occasions twirled around her, raising serious questions about her promising vocation. Anyway, it's fundamental to comprehend that large numbers of these discussions were not through her own effort, but rather were somewhat coordinated by outside powers that look to take advantage of and control accounts for their own benefits. One of the champion minutes in Gomes Preston's vocation was her vocal judgment of Bill O'Reilly's racially uncaring remarks about servitude. While O'Reilly minimized the repulsions of bondage, Reagan Gomes Preston utilized her foundation to uncover the slanted, verifiable view that actually torment America. Her activities were a distinct update that in Hollywood, taking a stand in opposition to treachery frequently comes at an individual expense, as it rocks the boat and undermines the delicate account of people with great influence. Yet debates weren't the main difficulties. Reagan looked in her excursion private matters, obtrusive media examination, and the contortion of her confidential life became decent Hollywood's savage paparazzi. And sentimentalist tabloids established a climate that left her uncovered, defenseless, and now and again unjustifiably depicted on the expert front. Reagan Gomes Preston experienced the profoundly dug-in predispositions against people of color in Hollywood. Open doors for substance jobs were scant, compelling her into a quandary: adhere to her standards or acknowledge guaranteed cliché jobs that sustained unsafe accounts. It was an unfortunate decision, one that delineated the business lack of concern toward variety and equivalent portrayal. Reagan Gomes Preston's process likewise remembered a spell for the famous series That 70s Show. I'm additionally the way that's the challenge going faltering, yet essentially the simpletons are engaging look at that numbskulls fro While many esteem recollections of the show her experience was damaged by the disrupting real factors of Hollywood, she confronted an environment that didn't satisfy the joyful veneer introduced to the public. Her disclosures about the treatment she got on, said especially the remarks from a chief encouraging her to have less backtalk, revealed insight into the foundational prejudice prowling in the background. Despite these misfortunes, Reagan Gomes Preston arose as an encouraging sign and a voice for change. Her relentless obligation to testing the business, the state of affairs, fills in as an update that the diversion world, like the general public it reflects, has well-established issues that need tending to. As we dig into Reagan Gomes Preston's story, plainly Hollywood, with its stunning outside, frequently covers a hazier, more evil side. The account of Reagan Gomes Preston reveals insight into the brutal real factors looked by people of color in the business, where potential open doors are restricted, contentions are taken advantage of, and individual lives are hurt.